Next is Jesse Valencia.
Yep. Here, I've got handouts for everybody. These are all handouts and letters for you guys. In case you can't see the PowerPoint, it's a little bit. Thank you. Done. Just put it right there. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Okay. Is Caleb here? Does he know how to do this? Just to get this back to where it is on the full screen again. Is it Zoom or fit to window? Okay, press play and then I can just go from the arrows. Okay, cool. Awesome, thank you. Okay. Hello. Thank you, Representative Blackman, for inviting me here today on behalf of the SITGREAVES County Project. First off, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Jesse Michael Geronimo Valencia. I'm a working musician with my band Gorky, an actor, a writer, and a filmmaker. I earned my MFA in creative writing and an MA in literature from N.A.D.A. and spent 6 years in the Army Reserve as a military police officer. My first nonfiction book is slated to be published next month, and I am currently attending the David Lynch Graduate School of Cinematic Arts at the Maharishi University of Management, where I'm developing several film projects. And now, as you will see, I'm also an aspiring political theorist. So, I came up with the idea for SITGREAVES County while doing research for a project I'm currently working on at the David Lynch Film School, when I noticed the relationship between county tax policy and median income. In rural areas where taxes were high, median income was well below the state average. Let's see here. Okay. Further research into this showed that in northeastern Arizona, where I live, Navajo and Apache counties are the two most impoverished counties in Arizona and two of the most impoverished counties in the United States. This is the central problem which my research and proposal aims to solve. So to figure out this problem, we have to go back past tax policy, income figures, or poverty statistics to its root. And this root is 130 years deep, when the county boundaries for both Navajo and Apache County were decided in 1890 by executive order to aid the development of the Santa Fe Railroad line. As you'll see on that map, that's a map from, I think, 1885. I found that since that time, in both of these counties, populations and laws have changed drastically while median income has been very low, taxes still relatively very high comparatively, so essentially you have an impoverished population providing Navajo and Apache County with resources to be spread across 20,000 square miles and 200,000 citizens to provide basic services of the state. As a result, schools are underfunded and infrastructure is underdeveloped. With the northern and southern parts of these counties being so demographically, geographically, and environmentally diverse from one another, I've come up with this plan to decentralize these two counties in a way that will work for everyone and in each region and be of benefit to the state of Arizona simultaneously. So in a theoretical bill I am calling the Northeastern Arizona Development Act, or N.A.D.A., I propose to split northeastern Arizona's Navajo and Apache counties from 2 into 3 to create SITGREAVES County in the southern portions of both counties, where the majority of the White Mountains and Apache SITGREAVES National Forest is today, with the county line drawn according to present-day school districts, which are the primary recipients of county funds. Many ideas to create such a new county in northeastern Arizona have been proposed in different forms over the past 35 years, but none of the plans prior to mine have worked for various reasons. Mostly because the designs for these counties were poor, or the intent was malicious. N.A.D.A. is a plan that will work for all of northeastern Arizona. So, with the exception of La Paz County, every single county line in Arizona was drawn prior to Arizona becoming a state over a century ago. In the 1980s, when La Paz County was created, the state found that it had to shoulder much of the burden for the new county, which had insufficient financing and population. So after La Paz County, Title 11 was amended to make it more difficult for new counties to form by countywide petition by creating basic minimum population and land mandates. While Title 11's mandates and requirements for new counties were designed to slow down the process, I believe they also provide a path to creating well-designed counties, particularly since most of our county boundaries are outdated by at least a century. As Arizona's demographics and population continue to grow and change, more new county movements will arise for many different reasons. Most recently, this has been shown to be the case with the passage of the Santa Cruz-Cochise County Line Study Committee Bill 2486. Pictured here is a group of citizens who were involved in the development of that legislation. Similar meetings have been held all around the White Mountains over the past year, most of them averaging 50 to 100 people, all in support of the SITGREAVES County movement. So I believe that the legislature ought to have a clear path to creating new counties should the need arise, such as with my proposal here for the Northeastern Arizona Development Act with the creation of SITGREAVES County. My proposal for Northeastern Arizona's county decentralization differs from these and other plans in that it provides a clearer path for the legislature to form new counties that are designed well and stop poorly designed counties from being formed. But before I get into that, I want to tell you a little bit more about why the creation of SITGREAVES County, according to N.A.D.A, will be so good for Northeastern Arizona. So here's 12 reasons for SITGREAVES County. SITGREAVES County is the centerpiece of N.A.D.A. All of my research over the past 2 years has been applied to its design, specific to the White Mountains and Apache SITGREAVES National Forest regions. And what has led, it is what has led to the idea of N.A.D.A, as well as my proposed amendments to Title 11. If the committee would like to refer to the 12 reasons for SITGREAVES County handout and follow along that way, a copy has been provided to you in your packets. Otherwise, I'll have it on the slide here. So number one, more money for schools. My design for all 3 counties is based on boundaries for present-day school districts, who are the #1 recipient and beneficiary of county monies. Divided this way by population and school districts, schools will be financed across the region more equitably. Number 2, counties that work for the people. My plan does not displace Navajo County or Apache County's county seats. After the split, Holbrook will remain the county seat of Navajo County and St. John's will remain the county seat of Apache County. SITGREAVES County's seat will likely be in Show Low, but that will be decided by a countywide vote in the first general election following N.A.D.A's passage. Number 3, stronger indigenous representation. Navajo and Apache County will see greater indigenous representation in government at the county level, which will aid both counties in facilitating various initiatives with the state relevant to their respective regions, particularly education and infrastructure projects on indigenous land and highway development throughout both counties. Number 4, HURF increases. Specifically, HURF funds will be increased in Navajo and Apache County as well as SITGREAVES County, which will aid in the development of highways and roads where it is needed most. Number 5, region-specific policy. Both Navajo and Apache County will be better capable to handle zoning and county tax policy with regards to the natural gas drilling and development slated to begin in the north later this year. Number 6, localized control. Navajo County, Apache County, and SITGREAVES County will be able to focus county resources on dealing with the various issues affecting the citizens living in each region today, such as public health initiatives, fighting domestic violence, methamphetamines, child hunger, and other issues relevant to northeastern Arizona's impoverished populace. Number 7, opportunities for indigenous students. In the new SITGREAVES County, home of the White Mountain Apache tribe, indigenous Arizonans will benefit in much of the same ways that the Navajo, Zuni, and Hopi tribes will in Navajo and Apache counties to the north. For example, under Representative Tosi's sponsored bill HB 2268, all 3 counties would receive $500,000 in community college grants rather than just 2. Under N.A.D.A, northeastern Arizona could see an increase of funding for local community colleges by 33%. Number 8, fire danger and forest management. SITGREAVES County is at high risk for forest fires. The Rodeo, Chedeski, Wallow, and other fires in the past 20 years show a need for increased efficiency in county emergency response and fire policy. By consolidating resources in the new county, SITGREAVES will be better prepared to handle another devastating fire. Number 9, holding public officials accountable. Citizens in SITGREAVES County will be able to elect local candidates that work for them, that work for the White Mountains, and that will work to develop county policy that will be of benefit to those living in the White Mountains, on White Mountain Apache land, or in communities throughout the Apache SITGREAVES National Forest region. Apache County is right now riddled with scandal as reports have been coming out of abuse of public funds and widespread corruption. It is the same in Navajo County, where resistance to public officials by groups such as the SITGREAVES County Project have resulted in a deadlock over county tax policy with no end in sight. Number 10, decentralization works. Decentralizing the counties equitably into 3, according to my plan, will be according to already existing law. Come at the lowest possible cost to the state, will put control of all 3 regions into the hands of the people who live and work in them, increase indigenous representation at all levels of government, and boost county funds for all 3 new counties. Let's see here. Number 11, smooth transition. Sales taxes, property taxes, zoning ordinances, school funding, infrastructure, utilities, emergency policy, public safety, and other laws and ordinances passed by each county's Board of Supervisors will better reflect each region's existing constituency. To see the transitional supervisory districts once N.A.D.A. is passed until the governor's appointed County Formation Commission finalizes the new district boundaries, please refer to the map provided in your handouts. Number 12, fighting poverty at the county level. As a result of this decentralization, economies in each county will improve. Median incomes will rise, and northeastern Arizona will put itself on a path to lift itself out of poverty. Okay, so now I want to tell you a little bit about my proposed amendments to Title 11, which are needed to refine the law and to give the state of Arizona a clear path to creating well-designed counties while ensuring poorly designed counties do not form. So first off, according to my research, based on 2010 census data, Navajo County, Apache County, and SITGREAVES County will all three meet or exceed the Title 11 mandates. La Paz County, whose creation triggered the mandates, cannot even claim to do this today. When the population of Navajo County and Apache County taken together is divided by 3, each county exceeds the Title 11 population mandate by 20%. This map, which is included in your handout, shows that SITGREAVES and Navajo counties will both have enough taxable land according to the mandates of Title 11. Each small square equals 1 square mile. So according to our estimates, each county will have 15 times the amount of private land required by Title 11. In our current research, we are working on a similar map for Apache County. The Title 11 mandates are population, 3/4% of the state's total population. Private property, at least 100 square miles. Assessed value, 3/4% of the total state assessed value. And boundaries with at least 2 other counties in the state line or 3 other counties. My research with the SITGREAVES County project has revealed that all 3 counties have the potential to meet or exceed these mandates. Should N.A.D.A. be passed at the next legislative session, we are confident that 2020 census data will continue to reflect the findings of my research into these mandates. My plan relies on the Title 11 mandates to decentralize the counties in a way that funding and resources will be distributed equitably among all 3, easing strain on county governments and ensuring the best equality of opportunity in each region. Essentially, I've already done the work of the County Formation Commission for them, but there is no clear path right now between this proposal and the actual creation of SITGREAVES because of the language of Title 11. So Title 11 states that new counties can be formed by the legislature by countywide initiative or statewide initiative. However, at present, the only language that is clear for this process is for counties formed by countywide or statewide initiative because of the effort put into refining the mandates at those levels in lieu of La Paz County. Legislative study committees, such as those recently passed with regards to 2486, while relevant, do not appear to be required by Title 11. What is required by Title 11 is a county formation commission to be appointed by the governor after initiative to create a new county or change a county line is passed. The County Formation Commission consists of 1 member of the state bar, 1 certified accountant, and 1 certified appraiser, only 2 of whom can be of the same political party and none of whom may reside in the proposed or affected counties. It is technically the job of the County Formation Commission to do the job of a study committee so they can determine whether or not the new and affected counties will be a good idea or a bad idea and whether their design will be lawful or unlawful. Theoretically, the legislature should merely need to pass a bill to change a county line, and then the executive branch determines whether or not the proposed county change is going to work through the appointed County Formation Commission as the law intends. But now here's a snag. After such an initiative passes at the county level, before the governor can appoint the County Formation Commission, which will determine the same kind of data as a study committee, the Secretary of State, not the legislature, must call for a special election in the affected counties where a new county is being formed to determine if a split or decentralization will go through. If the counties vote it down, the governor does not appoint the commission. If they vote it through, the county goes through regardless if it meets Title 11 or not. The legislature only needs to verify that the new county meets federal laws at that point. In the interests of the separation and balance of powers, the legislature ought to be able to prevent new counties from being formed this way by strengthening the legislature's relationship to the process within the context of Title 11 as it exists. You may ask, so what? The problem is that this special election rule is intended to be applicable to grassroots countywide initiatives, such as those which created La Paz County. But because of the Title 11 mandates as they are written today, it is commonly assumed to be applied to the legislature as well, which means that another La Paz could still happen. It just has to pass through a little more red tape. To be clear, I'm not saying that we do away with those mandates. I merely believe it to be applicable to countywide initiatives, not bills passed by the legislature. And to protect the state's interests, we need to strengthen the legislature's presence within the Title 11 mandates. This is why the rules for Title 11 regarding the legislature need to be clarified at the next legislative session with N.A.D.A. The passage of 2468 does not mean that the legislature is going to reform Santa Cruz or Cochise County. It does indicate that the legislature's decision to create a study committee rather than simply pass a bill calling for a change in the county lines makes their role in the process unclear due to the current language of Title 11. Because the governor is already required to form a county formation commission that has to, by law, do the exact same job as the legislature's study committee for 2486. In my plan, I've designed the future SITGREAVES County, the future Navajo County, and the future Apache County according to Title 11's mandates. And then my ideas for amending Title 11 came about once I noticed this legal pitfall. With regards to the proposed SITGREAVES County in Title 11, I have been the study committee, but once N.A.D.A is passed, the governor's appointed County Formation Commission will have to verify my research with their own findings. I'm almost finished. Upon passage of my proposed amendments to Title 11, which are included in N.A.D.A, the legislature will have a clear path to stopping poorly designed counties or those which do not meet the Title 11 mandates from being formed, while allowing for well-designed counties like SITGREAVES, which do meet the mandates to form. In our case, it is to set northeastern Arizona on a path to better fight poverty at the county level. So here is my first proposed amendment to Title 11. Before a bill to create a county or change a county line can be drafted, all new or affected proposed counties or county line changes must meet all mandates for new counties required by the state in Title 11, the same as SITGREAVES already does. In some cases, new counties include affected counties or counties whose lines have been redrawn. Second proposed amendment, new counties formed by the legislature should be exempt from the special elections called by the Secretary of State if the proposed new counties and affected counties all meet the mandates of Title 11. I believe that if a group of people desire to form their own county and they can prove that their proposed county will meet all of the state Title 11 mandates, all other applicable state and federal laws, and not unfairly burden the state, it should not be up to the county from where they are trying to leave to grant them permission to do so. The legislature should be able to step in on such cases. Third proposed amendment, expanding and clarifying the role of the governor's appointed county formation commission to read that if a county is formed or a county line redrawn by any means, whether by a countywide initiative, statewide initiative, or by the legislature, that the county cannot be formed if the county formation commission's report finds that any of the counties will not meet all of the Title 11 mandates, or if forming the new county will otherwise unfairly burden the state. Amending Title 11 in these ways will create a clear path for the legislature on how to handle new counties in the future, stop poorly designed counties from being formed, and allow for well-designed counties, like SITGREAVES, to develop. For example, under these amendments, if either Santa Cruz or Cochise counties will not meet the Title 11 mandates if the county line is moved, or if moving the county line would unfairly burden the state, then the county line would not be redrawn. If the County Formation Commission's findings are in their favor, the county line would be redrawn. The point is, under N.A.D.A, we have a clear path to determine this either way. By developing and passing the Northeastern Arizona Development Act, which will amend Title 11 and create SITGREAVES County, as well as the new Navajo and Apache counties, all of three of which are designed already according to Title 11, you will at once protect the state's interests, refine the law, and help Northeastern Arizona, one of the most impoverished regions in the country, out of poverty and on the path to prosperity. Thank you. This has been a presentation of the SITGREAVES County Project. We thank you for your time and consideration and hope that you take on the Northeastern Arizona Development Act for the good of Northeastern Arizona and work with us to create Arizona's 16th county. I will now take questions from the committee. Thank you.
Mr. Vice Chair.
Mr. Chair, so members, I invited Mr. Valencia here to give this presentation because I believe in transparency, number one, and letting folks know what intents are. So I have already written legislation for N.A.D.A, which I will drop next session. While we move forward with this, I will also hold stakeholder meetings in my district and also here at the legislators so members can see this. This is not just something for Northern Arizona, as this young man so eloquently talked about. This is a path for those counties that want a study commission to be able to do this under the guidelines that the governor has already laid out through Title 11. So as I move forward with this legislation next session, I encourage you and I invite you to those stakeholder meetings, and I look forward to conversation, and I do look forward to your support as we get this thing pushed through the legislative body to try to make this come to be. But this is something that I plan on doing, and have already started for next session. So,
Mr. Vice Chair, do we need to find a striker for this session? No comment?
that's something we can talk about.
Okay. All right.
She's good.
Representative Blanc.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. Two questions. So I'm struck by this because one of your statements was that by creating a new county, it could solve the poverty issues.
Help solve it. Help solve it.
How?
We think that our belief is that if you look at the Navajo and Apache County maps, they were decided in 1890 by executive order to facilitate the development of the Santa Fe Railroad. Since that time, the railroad has given way to the highway system, has given way to the interstate system. Different governmental boundaries and different types of things have sprung up since then, yet we're still operating under this model. In the north, you have a large amount of, plateau area. In the south, we have a lot of mountains. There's different geographic needs and infrastructural needs depending on where you're at in this place. It's like a 200 miles of space. It's the two most impoverished counties in the state. So our feeling is, since they meet the Title 11 mandates, we can divide these into three, have a more regional approach to fighting, to educating children, to building these roads, and put the counties in the hands of the people who work and live there.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. And it was Mr. Jesse
Valencia.
Thank you. So I'm uncertain. I don't know if we're aware here, but part of the reason there are problems with funding at the state level is because of the decisions that are made at the Arizona State Legislature. For example, we've stopped funding HURF at adequate amounts, which is why small counties as yours are struggling. We've also stopped funding education, which is why small counties like yours are having a problem keeping students. We've also, to some degree, stopped funding a lot of vital services, as well as the fact that we failed to invest in rural Arizona by providing services and ensuring that people might be interested in moving into those counties and therefore developing the economy. So I think, and I could be wrong here, but I think it's not creating a new county. It's actually starting to invest money in the right areas, which is something that we as elected officials have a responsibility of doing. So if this were to proceed next year, I'm going to politely let you know currently that I would be opposed to it. Because first, we have to, in the state ledge, invest in those right areas.
Right.
And then maybe when we start doing that, and then if you start seeing problems, then maybe we could have a discussion about creating a new county. But I'm slightly opposed to your reasoning as to why when it's here.
Gotcha. Point taken.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Valencia. Representative Tosi.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Valencia, I have a couple questions here.
Absolutely.
So have you met with Apache County, Navajo County supervisors, the Navajo Nation, the Hopi tribe, the Zuni tribe?
I'm glad you asked that. It's because we are trying to meet with them, but this has happened so quickly that we haven't had time to set things up. We've tried to meet with the Navajo Nation President Nez. The last time I was down here, we couldn't meet up with it. There was a member of the White Mountain Apache Tribal Council that has shown support. We've tried to contact him and set up a meeting with him so we can go present to the White Mountain Apache Tribal Council. We want to work with all of these people that you're referring to, all the Navajo Nation, the Hopi Nation, Navajo County, Apache County, the White Mountain Apache tribe, the Zuni tribe. We'd love to get everybody's input on this so we could figure out how this is going to work for northeastern Arizona as a whole, not just for SITGREAVES County. That's why there's the Title 11 mandates included as well, because we want to create something that's going to help the two most impoverished counties in the state figure out its own way out of the hole that it's in.
To that point.
Vice Chair.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Tosi, Representative Tosi, and that is a great question, and I just want to echo that. we are reaching out to those offices and to those nations to do this. And my office has reached out several times to the nations that were addressed here today, and we'll continue to do that. And we'd like to work with representatives from LD7.
Yes.
And that's why the stakeholder meeting is important, so everyone can come to the table. So, yes, those efforts are ongoing.
And what was your next question?
Chair,
Representative?
Mr. Valencia. So you had mentioned that you've conducted research. Can you share the results of your research with the committee? Because I would like to see that, and I want to see where
You mean the numbers of Title 11 specifically?
No,
Mr. Valence, if I could ask you to work through the chair and the members?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the way it would work is recognize me and then recognize the member.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't know the rules.
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay, so research pertaining to the dollar amounts and all of that, you had mentioned you've done all of that. Can you share that with the committee as far as why we need SITGREAVES County?
As far as which part specifically, as far as the dollar amounts?
Well, you had mentioned like taxes and all of that, how schools would benefit with 3 counties and all of that.
Okay. Thank you, Representative. The research that I put into and Mr. Chairman, the research that I did regarding SITGREAVES to figure out how they were going to be split, the research that I did, it's hard to determine what the actual amounts of the money would be for each county because of the assessed value mandate. So the research I was able to prove so far out of the Title 11 mandates are 3 of 4. There's the population. We show that we have enough population in each county. We show that we've shown that we have enough private property in each county, 15 times the needed amount. And our research has shown that all 3 meet county boundaries. The hard one that we have not been able to figure out is the assessed value mandate, which is what you're talking about with regards to the money. One of the reasons for that, I believe, is that number is going to be determined by market value at whenever N.A.D.A is passed, and that's something that the County Formation Commission that the governor is going to appoint would have to study themselves. So no matter what I came up with the number, it might not be able to reflect what the state's actual assessed value mandate would be to know how much property tax is going to go into each county.
Okay, and Chair, one more question.
Sure. Representative.
Mr. Valencia, so how does SITGREAVES plan to fund like county buildings, the jail and stuff like that? How do you plan on doing that? What's the cost going to be?
Mr. Representative, Mr. Chair, as far as the costs go, that's something that I have not been able to determine. Like I said, what my research shows is that all 3 will be legal according to the mandates. It's very difficult to get the numbers to figure out how each county will be split because it would work like this. Theoretically, say N.A.D.A is passed, the governor appoints his County Formation Commission. The County Formation Commission then has the tools and the resources and the pathway to go figure out exactly what the budgets for all 3 are going to be. The SITGREAVES County project doesn't know how much money there will be. We just theorize that based on the data and based on the law, all 3 counties could exist according to the state law and be able to finance themselves. But as far as jails and schools and everything else go at the county level, it would be like any other county. You'd have part state land, part HURF money, part county property tax money, part sales tax. I mean, each county would have its own sales tax policy, its own property tax policy. They'd have their own zoning ordinances and things going forward. So even if we were able to come up with an estimate that was accurate, once everyone went their separate ways in their own counties, that could all be changed. So that's why we're hoping to pass N.A.D.A to get the County Formation Commission, because the idea behind the Title 11 mandates is that if the County Formation Commission determines, you know what, there's no way that this is going to work, Navajo and Apache County and SITGREAVES County, they're not going to have enough money to be able to do this, then the county split doesn't go through. But the legislature currently doesn't have a way to do that besides trying to create their own study committees. When the governor's appointed county formation commission, which does the same kind of research as a study committee, it's their job and they're completely objective. They're selected. There's 3 of them that are selected. No 2 of them can be from the same party. None of them can live in the affected counties, and they come and they figure all that information out. And when they bring their report to the governor, they go, you know what? This is going to work. If they go, this is going to work, Navajo County is going to have this much more money. Apache County will have this much more money, and SITGREAVES will have this much more money. We need to go through with this. Then it can move forward. If the County Formation Commission goes, you know what? Based on our findings, Apache County is going to go broke, but Navajo and Apache County will be all right. Apache County is not going to meet this one mandate, then the split doesn't go through as designed. But right now, there is no clear path for the legislature in Title 11 to be able to do that, to go that far. Right now, they can create study committees, but like with 2486 for Santa Cruz Cochise County, right now you have a study committee that's going to be working for that. Under N.A.D.A, if the study committee finds that after the county line's drawn, that either Santa Cruz or Cochise County won't meet Title 11, that won't be passed. It won't go through. But as it's written right now, 2486 could allow a Santa Cruz Cochise County line to pass even if it doesn't meet Title 11, and then the legislature could be overridden because the Secretary of State would then call a special election in the county. They can vote to have their county line moved, and you have suddenly another La Paz on your hands when the state has to supplement Santa Cruz Cochise.
Any other questions? Here, Representative Payton.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr.
Valencia.
You said when you initially started your presentation, you stated that you had been researching this for 2 years.
Yes, that's right, Representative.
So if you've been researching it for 2 years, wouldn't one of the most paramount things you do is to meet with all the tribes up there? Because that area is notorious for drawing boundaries and lines and what have you that violate ancestral lands and tribal lands and all of that. So how did you get this far without meeting with them?
Good question, Representative Payton, Mr. Chair. It has been tough to schedule first because
2 years?
Yeah, 2 years, but in that time I've been in the David Lynch Film School. I've worked for 10 years on a book that is being published next month that I worked very hard on, and I've also have a full-time job, and I have a band that tours and records and plays. I mean, I've just been very busy. It was an idea that I came up initially from a screenplay that I created. And when some people brought it up to me, this could be real, I said, you know what, it could be. Let me research this a little more. And as I got into it, I didn't know it was going to spread like wildfire. And up there in northeastern Arizona where we're at, it's spread. We have like hundreds of supporters now. When we go and speak at these places, all kinds of people come. And they want it to happen. They want to see it happen. So part of that is that I'm not a politician, and I have no way to know. I had no idea. That wasn't a thought in my mind until I met with Walt, and he suggested it to me, which was only a few months ago, really. So it was more like, hey, I'll just get this idea out, and we'll see how it goes. But I didn't know that it was going to have implications to grow and evolve into something that could actually benefit the entire state. And that's what I want to do by bringing it to this committee and trying to get input from all kinds of different perspectives and different regions to see how we can make this something that's a bipartisan thing that's for the state, that would work for the people, and incorporate all of that into it. So that's why I haven't contacted them directly. I just haven't had the infrastructure.
Mr. Vice Chair?
Yes.
Or Mr. Chair, you're back.
He's back.
Mr. Chair.
Representative.
So, since you started this research 2 years ago, and you sound like you're a writer, have you written anything up about your research and your findings and the interviews and all of the research and justification you have? You have that in written format?
That's culminated in this presentation.
Well, that's not, Mr. Chair.
Representative.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a researcher and writer too, so when you do all that research and you synthesize it and distill it down to a printed document, it presents the rationale, the research, the findings, the pros, the cons, or all of that. Do you have a document that states all of that?
Representative, we do not yet, because this is I would still call this a work in progress. So I'm continuing to do research. We're continuing to learn things. And I don't have anything written or published yet at all. Not on an academic sense either, where I have citations and things like that. I want to do something like that. I'd like to turn this into a film project or a book project where I can cite things like that.
Thank you. It sounds hypothetical at this point. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Representative.
Valencia.
Thank you, Mr. Chair,
Thank you.
and thank you.
Okay, members, up next is SB